Hey guys, it's James Walsh here from the Wrestling Epicenter. I'd like to thank you for finding us here on YouTube. If you get the opportunity, please click that subscribe button as well as the notifications bell. This way, anytime that we upload any new content or new to you content from our archives dating back to 2002, you'll be notified. You can check out what we're up to. Please also check out www.wrestlingepicenter.com for all your wrestling news and information needs, as well as check out our store to keep us running free and clear. Without any further delay, let's get to why you're here. Thanks for checking out Wrestling Epicenter on YouTube.
And welcome back to 3 Count Wrestling's main event, where the Wrestling Epicenter is honored to bring back a former guest of ours, the Windy City Warrior, the Second City Saint, and the Chi-Town Dog, otherwise known as Classic Colt Cabana. Mr. Cabana, how are you doing this afternoon?
Hey, am I the main event of the show, or is that the title of it? I'm kind of confused.
You are in the main event, sir.
Really? So there was an undercard?
Yeah, the undercard is just basically my co-host and I just rambling back and forth to each other, so you are the highlight of the program.
Oh, tremendous.
Well,
good to hear. I'm good. How are you?
I'm okay. Well, I guess we can begin with, you got a new DVD out, Colt Cabana, Chicago Globetrotter.
I do.
I hope so. That's what I found out.
Yeah, let me tell you a little bit about it. It's a 2-disc DVD, available, at coltcabana.com or MySpace/Colt Cabana. And, it features, a lot of it, as the title says, it's about myself, the Chicago Globetrotter, and features me going all over the world with matches like my very first match in Japan and matches in Germany and Canada, England, and I think everyone will enjoy it. It's very well done. It was produced by BlackBunnyProductions.com, who's a very good DVD production company. Everyone will be happy with it. I've been told it has one of the funnier covers going on, so there was a little it came up with me. Mm-hmm. With a big giant afro. So.
Yeah, and I have to say that when I saw the cover when I was doing the research for this interview, I saw the cover at a local internet cafe, and I laughed so hard they threw me out. So.
Well, there. Glad I can make you simple.
Thank you very much. And and how much is the DVD?
Yeah, the DVD is only $15 actually, plus shipping and handling. Mm-hmm. If you're in America, it's like $3 shipping and handling. And overseas, I think it's $8. So very affordable, very easy. Get it for Hanukkah or St. Patrick's Day or whatever, and help me live.
Mm-hmm. All right, well, before we get into the wrestling questions, I have to ask you, since you are from Chicago, and every person from Chicago that I have ever met is very intense about what they put on hot dogs. So I have to ask you, what do you put on a hot dog?
I like Chicago dog, which is, you know what, sometimes I go with, sometimes I go without onions. Obviously, it's dog, a jumbo char, usually, mustard, relish, pickle spear, a tomato, and sometimes onions. Usually not, but so that's a Chicago dog for you.
Oh, cool! I'll have to try one of these days. Well, again, before we talk about wrestling, you also made mention this in your MySpace page that one of your childhood friends, Aaron Moorhead, defeated your Chicago Bears at this year's Super Bowl. Is that kind of yeah? I have to guess that's a little bittersweet for you.
It was rough. You know, I didn't know who to cheer for, and you know, we watched the game in a bar in Chicago, but you know, at the same time, one of my best friends was playing for the other team, and you know, I grew up a lifelong Bears fan, as did Aaron and all my friends. So of course, with my father being, you know, on the '85 Super Bowl Bears, you know, it didn't really matter to me who won. I didn't know who to root for. I wasn't really rooting for anyone. I was just kind of watching the game and enjoying it. And at the end of the day, you know, the Bears will come back another time and win. But right now, Aaron's got a Super Bowl ring, so that's kind of, you know, that's sweet and a dream come true for him. So I'm very happy and proud of him. So, you know, next year maybe the Bears will go get it. You know, to be honest, I don't think the Bears really deserved it. Rex Grossman was a horrible quarterback. I mean, he was decent, but, definitely not a Super Bowl quarterback. So maybe he can improve, or we can grab him, and Levy can lead us all the way.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, I guess we can go into some of your wrestling questions. You recently returned from England, doing a tour with Ring of Honor. Well, one of our, my apologies, one of our forum members is from England and wanted to know about your tag team with Darren Burge, Team Shag.
Well, we're just going to tell you how great these shows were. And as soon as they come out on DVD, I'd recommend going to ROHWrestling.com and picking these up, because the whole crew came back and was just raved about what a great two shows that were put on. And I know, a lot of the buzz and the people that have been messaging me on MySpace and emailing me telling me what great times they had. Two great shows at the Liverpool Olympia Stadium in Liverpool, England. And honestly, there's a lot of pay-per-views and there's a lot of, big-time shows these days. But, to say that especially Sundays, I think, to say that wasn't one of the better shows of the year, and that it wouldn't be worth more money than a lot of pay-per-views that are being put on these days, it would be safe. So, two great shows. I recommend going there. But Team Shag, myself and Darren Burge, is my tag team in 1PW. There's a lot of drama involved in 1PW. It closed, it came back, it was liquidated, it's not. All I know is that I'm booked April 6th in Doncaster, England, a home that I've had for the last year, a company that I've enjoyed wrestling with very much for the last year, and a partnership that I think is one of a kind. We are trying to bring back tag team wrestling to the European scene and hopefully around the world pretty soon. I think we are very distinct in who we are as tag team members, and I think we're a lot of fun. Darren is basically the Colt Cabana of England, just a goofy, crazy wild cat over there. And we come together very well, and we have a good dynamic, a good partnership. And Team Shag is the current 1PW Tag Team Champions, and we're looking to dominate the world.
Awesome. Well, speaking of England, you have a thriving fan base in Europe. I got a lot of private messages about when we announced this interview with you. We got a lot of questions about your time in wrestling in England and Europe and whatnot. What is it about wrestling over there that holds such an appeal for you?
Well, England was the first place that I was in the country, and that was in 2003 when Alex Shane brought over myself and CM Punk. And it was such a cool thing that I was being flown over to a different country and seeing different parts of the world, just because I was a professional wrestler. And so the next year, after I became a full-time professional wrestler, my first thing on my agenda was to go live somewhere else, go do something else. And I moved over to England for a bit, and I had a great time. I fell in love with the old-time wrestling tradition there, and I was wrestling every day of the week, which was a dream come true. And so for me, that was kind of the first time I ever left, home, I guess, and lack of a better word. And I went and traveled and saw the world a bit. And so, that was the first time, and that was, over in England. So, I had such a great time. I met so many friends and did so many things. And now I'm continually going back there. So, it was so special to me. It's really, the first time I was able to leave the nest. And the world of sport, obviously, everyone knows that's such a great, I love so much. I love watching all the old British wrestling. They're very influential in the way I wrestle. So put those all together, and England is definitely my second home next to Chicago.
Well, speaking of England, probably one of the more famous Ring of Honor participants to come out of England is Nigel McGuinness. And one of the questions we got about him is, does he really hit as hard as we're led to believe?
Nigel's a great story. He was just a guy who loved wrestling. And, growing up, like most of us did, and, he traveled the world across the ocean to get trained over in America. didn't know anybody, just followed his dream. And, he's been influenced throughout the years. And when I was wrestling him a little early in his career in Ring of Honor, very influenced by the British wrestling, which isn't as hard hitting. It's more focused on mat wrestling, grappling, and reversals of different holds. Well, then Nigel was lucky enough to become part of the Pro Wrestling Noah company, and when he was there, he was definitely influenced in a Japanese manner with the Japanese style of wrestling. And when he came back with a vengeance, and boy, did his style changed. And believe it, yes, Nigel came back from Japan, and he hit like a Japanese hammer. The man brings it, definitely. And I'm glad, I'm glad I was wrestling him before he went to Japan, and luckily I'm on the same side of after Japan, because I don't want to be on any wrong side of those lariats that he's throwing.
Wow, I can imagine that. I have a pretty modest collection of Ring of Honor, basically from I fell in love with the product because of you and your feud with Homicide, and I see some of those matches, and I see some of those moves he pulls, and it's Nigel, I mean, and it's just makes me want to cringe and go, ow.
Yeah, definitely. Listen, you're cringing and saying, "Ow." Imagine how guys like Joe and Jimmy Rave and whatnot, how they feel, taken and on the wrong side of that lariat. So you can only.
Well, in the past year and a half, you've had a couple of really intense Ring of Honor feuds. One with Homicide, and the current one with Jimmy Jacobs. Are these kinds of feuds a pleasant change from your regular routine with Ring of Honor?
Well, my business with Jimmy Jacobs and Lacey is pretty much over now. Okay. After I lost my whole body's blood in Chicago. But you know what? Listen, I love wrestling. I love going out there, and I think every time someone comes out to a Ring of Honor show, they pretty much know what they're getting with Colt Cabana. A fun, happy-go-lucky time, and sometimes the winds change. So for me, it's always nice, it's always nice to just go out there and wrestle like I love to wrestle, and get the crowd involved, and have the crowd. I believe there's definitely a place on the card for my style of wrestling. There's a lot of hard hitting, especially now Nigel coming back from Japan now, and there's a lot of hard hitting, high risk impact moves. And what I like to do is just kind of let the crowd kind of get a lot more involved in my match and participate. And sometimes, the wrestlers, they don't approve of that, or they don't like the style that I bring. And when you get those kind of clashes of egos, or clashes of, the way different wrestlers think about how shows should go, is when you start getting these, I guess, quote unquote feuds, or when people, start to have beef with me. Mm-hmm. And I have no fun, because you've seen in the past that, I can be a fun, happy-go-lucky kid from Chicago that I am, but, I am a tough dude. I was trained as a wrestler, first and foremost. Mm-hmm. And, later kind of brought in this, good time aspect of it. But, you could see, especially with that feud with Homicide, that I'm a tough dude. And, yeah, and you know what? And I can take a beating, and I can keep on going. And I think that's been proven. So, if anyone wants to bring something more to the table, they're going to have to realize that, more than likely I'm going to come out on top, because, it's not like it's not like it's foreign to me. I have no problem beating the crap out of somebody.
Well, in addition to your tours of England, you've also toured Japan, and one question I got from a private message is, when touring outside the United States, how many headbands do you have to take with you?
Is that to wear or to sell?
Both.
It depends. I bring headbands with me all the time anyway, so, they're always just in my bag. I don't think there's an infinite number of headbands. It's just, that's what I got. But I do love my headbands.
Well, Bret Hart gave a very famous interview where he said that he loved everything about Japan except the food. So do you have any experiences about the food in Japan while you were touring there?
My first two times to Japan, Steve Carino was the only American with me, so I was kind of going whatever he said. And I guess the one crazy thing I did was I ate sheep. I don't know if I've ever eaten sheep before. But obviously, when I'm an American, this is a culture that I love. I love American food, and obviously, anytime you go outside, you're what you feel comfortable with, it's gonna be a little weird. England food is definitely horrible. Japanese food is horrible too. I think the problem is that especially me being such a big dude and America being such a fat country, is that we're so used to such big portions, and we go over to different countries, so anybody can keep up with portions of the amount of food that I enjoy. So, it's hard to eat when you're trying to eat as much, and that's going to set off. You're on the road, you don't want to spend that money.
Mm-hmm.
But the Japanese food wasn't anything special, and
Okay. Well, I know you have some really funny stories on your Chicago Globetrotter DVD, but can you share one with us about Japan? A funny story?
Yeah, it's not really stories. It's just a lot of handheld of me walking around Japan. There was an incident where there was a lot of just hijinks, just a lot of immature hijinks of me and Carino goofing off and going to hitting on different Japanese women and them having no clue what we're saying and me being completely unsuccessful. So I recommend going out there and watching it. Just a lot of hijinks and immaturity at its finest.
Awesome. We have to talk about the recent Wrestling Society X and your trainer, Matt Classic.
That's right.
Right. First of all, how do you get in touch with Mr. Classic? How did you get him to agree to train you?
Oh, he's known to have a professional wrestling. So he saw a lot in me, and he took me under his wing, and I'm always grateful for that.
And what does Matt think of the Wrestling Society X style, which is quite different from one he would likely be used to?
I think he thinks that it's great. It's something different on TV. It's not the same old. Some dude comes out for 20 minutes and then speaks, and then some other guy, then they have, a drawn out segment that's so long and boring, and then blah, blah, blah. It's 30 minutes of high impact, fast paced, over the top professional wrestling, and it's not trying to be anybody else. I think it's got its own kind of style and its own ideas very quickly. Unfortunately, I think it's unfair that MTV, hasn't or didn't advertise for it whatsoever. Especially they put so much money into it. I know it's almost on its last legs here. A lot of people don't know what's going on. I don't really know what's going on. Matt doesn't know what's going on. I can only hope that, maybe I heard that, I was told that they're going to put on the last episodes, kind of in a row. Hopefully that does very well and people are interested and follow it. And then maybe I can get second thoughts about the product and continues it because, whenever there's more wrestling on TV, there's more jobs for the wrestlers, there's more competition, it makes everyone want to work harder, and it's a great thing for professional wrestling. So, if this goes off the air, then it's just going to be everybody struggling once again to try to do something great in wrestling, and it's unfortunate.
Well, it also seems that several wrestlers of the era of recent past, Nikolai Volkov in particular, stole many of Matt's mannerisms. Is that something Mr. Classic is upset about?
Nikolai Volkov stole his mannerisms, huh?
It seems that way. The chest pounding and like all the shoulder rolling and all that.
A lot of these jerks have taken, mannerisms, but Matt, go back to the old school days, and I think he did great, and I think that's what everyone enjoys watching because everybody's, especially in that show, it's so crazy and new school and flippity floppity and wild and over the top. Is that you know, what's different is always going to set itself apart. When you have a wrestling show that's so serious and there's a guy doing comedy and making people laugh, it stands out. When you have a show with over-the-top flips and electrocuting and exploding and whatnot, and then there's a guy, or just a plain guy in a mask with high-waist trunks doing moves that you haven't seen since the 40s, it can stand out. And so, you know, I think Matt did a great job in standing himself out. And obviously other people took to that and stole his moves and his mannerisms. So it's going to happen, you know. It's, I guess, imitation is the sincerest form of flattery, I guess they would always say.
And final question about this. Are you both upset that people as high as AJ Styles claims that you and Matt Classic are both the same person?
Who said that?
AJ Styles.
Unbelievable. I'll tell you what, it is a proven, documented fact that we are not the same person. Matt trained me. He's my guru and mentor, and he is right now in his dungeon sleeping in his basement. So how could he be sleeping and I'd be doing this interview?
I have no idea, and I don't understand why. You know, you guys don't even wrestle alike. It's amazing.
Exactly. And his chest is much bigger than mine.
I do have to ask a question about his diet. Is it really raw eggs and mayonnaise sandwiches?
Raw eggs, mayonnaise sandwiches, carton of cigarettes, you name it, he does it. It's just as pure and as true as possible. I don't get much of his diet, but he does it like it's old school, man. He's crazy. Just nuts.
Wow, amazing. Well, we can finish up this interview with a few extra questions. And once again, thank you for spending the time with us. This has been really fun. As one of the few wrestlers who is both technically proficient and very charismatic and entertaining, I have to ask, which aspect has served you better so far in your career?
Well, you know, I'm this day and age, you know, a lot of these people, a lot of great wrestlers and a lot of great trainers out there. And I'm not going to say it's not hard to teach someone how to wrestle because it's very difficult. But you know, naturally, I don't have natural charisma or stage presence. And you know, I like to think that has set me apart from a lot of people in the wrestling industry. And I'm very grateful for it because, and I appreciate you saying, because I do work very hard on my wrestling as well as my entertaining aspect. So you know, you can only get to such a level of excellent wrestling before you can set yourself out with entertainment. So obviously they both played a huge part in making me who I am. But I definitely think people, you know, remember me for, you know, the good times and the joking in the ring and the having fun and outgoing and outspoken. So, but that's a good question.
Thank you. Well, you've also had a few matches on WWE's Heat and Velocity, including one with Hacksaw Jim Duggan. So I guess the question would be, thank you. What's it like being in the ring with such a legend?
Oh, he was a legend, and you know, I did watch him as a kid, and I prefer to ring with these guys. And you know, in the ring, he was all business. You know, we were trying to, you know, I was obviously trying to go for the win, and he was trying to go for the win. But out in the ring, he was a gentleman, and you know, at 52 years old, and you know, 25, 28 years in the wrestling industry or whatnot. Very humbled and appreciative of where he was and what he's done, and to have a job and still making money, and it's very inspiring because I tell you what, when I'm that age, I would love to be doing the exact same thing he's doing, and it says a lot about who he is and his work ethic and his ability to get over with the crowd. You know, people still love Hacksaw, and hopefully when I'm that age, people will still love Colt Cabana.
Do you know if there's any interest from the WWE in having Colt Cabana as a full-time wrestler for them?
You don't know as good as right now. Contractually obligated to Big Vision, WFX, and MTV. And my interests right now are definitely, you know, with MTV and of course with favorite promotion in the whole wide world. And that's where I'm at, and that's what I love doing right now, and I'm having a great time doing it. So, you know, if people have interest, maybe they do, maybe they don't, but right now I'm having a great time in my life being an independent wrestler and being a freelance wrestler and being a journeyman, really.
Okay, well, 2 more questions, and we'll let you go. First off is, we heard a story that you, CM Punk, Chris Hero, and Reckless Youth wrestled a match in front of 8 people. Is this true?
I don't know.
Huh.
What's good?
That a 15 or 16-year-old kid was a promoter, or trying to act like a promoter, and hired all these independent superstars.
Beautiful. Me Punk, Hero, and Chucky Smooth.
Oh, I do apologize.
Yeah, it's okay. And 8 people, definitely one of the. It was 8 paid. It might have been 11 people there. I wrestled for a promotion in England called TAP, I believe, and there was a legit 6 or 7 people. And I wrestled Ross Jordan, and I had a really good match, and the people were really enjoyed it. So I was, I think 6 or 7 was the least right now. That's my record was in England. So I find that pretty wild that you bring in an American for only 6 or 7 people.
Is it true that you and the 4 of you actually started laughing in the ring, trying to having a good time?
Crying. I think I was just like crying. I had tears after because I think we decided that the competition level wasn't going to be as high as it was supposed to be with such a minimal crowd, and there was just some crazy shenanigans going on. And, the winner's purse wasn't that high that night, so because of the low gate, so I don't think anyone really had a competitive edge. And so we just kind of, I think, just started having a good time in there. Yeah, I was crying. Wasn't the first time. I've done it before. I forget where, but that was the first time. Or, I mean, it wasn't the last time, but I know I've cried in the ring before.
Well, final question. We ask this of all our guests.
Sure.
What is the funniest road story you can tell us that won't get someone in serious trouble?
I've had so many billions of funny road stories, and I can never remember them. I don't know.
Okay.
Let me think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I got no clue.
Okay.
I don't know. Every road trip with me is just a laugh. Not to brag or anything, but there's always something crazy going on, and crazy ribs happening, and crazy stories. I mean, I'm trying to think what these are. Yeah, I got nothing. Oh, there was one night. It was Sandman, Punk, me, Low Key, and this was the first time we ever really went out with Sandman. He got so hammered. We were at Denny's. That those little like push vacuum things that like aren't electric.
Mm-hmm.
Like he thought it was the coolest thing ever that this thing was there, and he was throwing like ketchup bottles on the ground and trying to vacuum it up. And we were so impressed by it. And then he ordered a milkshake, and then Punk drank it, and then he came back and Punk asked him how his milkshake was, and he said it was delicious. And I've never seen Sandman so drunk. I've never seen a person so drunk. And that was IWC, and there was a lot of fun nights with IWC, especially when me and Punk were young in the wrestling, and Norm Connors was bringing in a lot of these guys, like fresh off ECW, and a lot of veterans. But that was a hell of a good night, and that was something I remember, was Sandman trying to vacuum up ketchup bottles with this shitty $2 vacuum that was at Denny's.
All right. Well,
yep.
Well, once again, thank you very much for spending the time with us. And let me just finish off by saying Colt Cabana, his new DVD, Chicago Globetrotter, is available at coltcabana.com. And you can visit him on MySpace, myspace.com/coltcabana. And did I forget to plug anything else?
Yeah, definitely. My gear person is Patrick over at Main Event Ringwear. .com and maineventringwear.com. And also, I take part in a little systematic gambling, which puts the odds in your favor, which is thebestbetonsports.net. That's thebestbetonsports.net, and it's if you're into sports and gambling, it's something I have a hand in that I enjoy doing, and I've made over a couple $1,000s this year that I just had to do on my taxes. But it's not a lot. It's very easy and it's worth the investment. So I recommend it to everybody.
Well, once again, thank you for spending the time with us. This is Chris Ferguson at 3 Count Wrestling Main Event.
My name is James Walsh, and I'd like to thank you for checking out the Wrestling Epicenter here on YouTube. If you have not done so already, please do. Click that subscription button and the notifications bell. This way you'll be notified anytime I upload any new or new to you classic content from our archives that date back to 2002. If you get the opportunity, please also check out www.wrestlingepicenter.com for all your wrestling news and info needs, as well as our store to keep us going free and clear. Without any further delay, let's get to why you came here, the content here on YouTube.